Oh, sorry, Dawn.
Oh, Dawn.
Dawn.
Can anyone hear me?
Yes. So you're all good?
Internet is not the best. Play this up. Is everybody here that we anticipate being here?
You've got all the select people, all of staff, town council, and then there's some people that didn't join from Council for Human Services, and I don't know if they intend to or not.
Okay. Well, I'll call the select board meeting to order. I actually don't have the script with me, but we are meeting remotely per Governor Baker's executive orders from March that allows certain provisions of the open meeting law to be waived for remote participation. And everyone can see Williams. Linda, can you hear me?
You're breaking up again.
Erica Mooney.
Present.
Ashley Erisman.
Here.
Jason Bridges.
Here.
Christy Ferrantella.
Here.
Sean Perry.
Here.
Mark Beal.
Here.
Richard Hussey. Can you hear me, Richard? You can give me a thumbs up if you want. Oh, I think he's speaking, but he's muted. Matt Fay.
Here.
John Giorgio.
Here.
Melissa Murphy.
Here.
Cindy Rivera.
Here.
Athlon Sweeney.
Here.
Anna Valeria Alonso.
Here.
Rachel Day.
Here.
Brooke Moore.
Here.
Greg Tivnan.
Here.
Vanessa Rendero.
Here.
Okay, thank you. We will be doing all of our votes by roll call. Please wait to be recognized by the chair. Raise your hand. I'm trying to remember the rest of the script, but I think I covered the basic issues there. So we will go right into the agenda.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
there had been a request to do the appointments for Capital Program Committee and Council for Human Services first, just because they're less controversial. So I don't know if the board is
Okay.
open to that or not.
Board members?
Madam Chair, this would be we just do it in separate email.
I'm sorry, I just lost my screen. Should we do it in an email?
Do you want me to actually review the process of how we're going to proceed with this?
Sure.
And this is pursuant to town council. One of the board members should make a motion to reconsider the appointments that were previously made on June 17th that are referenced in the agenda. If that motion to reconsider passes, the board should proceed to invite any candidate who had a late filed application or who did not have an opportunity to address the board previously to do so. The board may want to consider allowing any other candidate who wishes to address the board to do so as well. It is our understanding that the chair is not inviting any public comment during the meeting. We have had an abundant amount of public comment via email, which has all been forwarded to the board and has been put up on the website with the exception of 5 emails I got in the last 20 minutes that I did not have time to put up on the public page, but the board did receive them. When it is time to vote, each board member will be asked to send an email or text message to me in real time. And once I receive the votes from all 5 board members, I will read the results into the record. And after I announce how each board member votes, I'm going to ask each board member to verbally confirm his or her vote. Does that sound good? Okay. I will note that capital program, well, you guys should take your vote to reconsider your vote for Capital Program, Conservation Commission, and Council for Human Services first.
I'll make that
Is there a motion to that effect?
I'll second.
Is there a second? All those in favor by roll call? Jason Bridges?
Aye.
Christy Ferrantella?
Aye.
Matt P?
Aye.
Melissa Murphy?
Aye.
Okay, Don Holgate, aye. That's a 5-0 vote. And then we can start with Capital Programs Committee.
I will note, so if Mr. Hussey wants to speak on his appointment, now is the time to do so, but it's 2 incumbents for 2 seats. Just putting that out there.
Richard Hussey, did you want to say anything?
Sure, real quickly. I've served 2 terms, a total of 6 years. And after our deliberations concluded in January, I thought it was time for a fresh set of eyes and someone with new perspectives to join the committee. And I sent a note to Erica and to Libby indicating that I had planned to step down. And then I had a change of heart. And I decided that I wanted to be part of the team that helps put this island back on its feet. And I think I have some institutional knowledge over the 6 years that I can bring to the process. And having said that, I humbly ask for your vote for reappointment.
Thank you, Richard. Shall we go to a ballot vote? Yes.
Do you need a motion to approve? Dawn, you're muted.
All right, we just need a ballot vote sent to Erica at this time. Matt?
In a case like this, why bother with a ballot? We have 2 people in 2 positions, and I make a motion to appoint them.
Oh, you're muted again.
Sorry, if everyone's comfortable with that, that's fine. I'm still trying to pull up the agenda, which I can't seem to get.
I'm partly saying it for that reason too.
Matt, I'm comfortable with that idea in this instance.
Is that a second?
Yes, I will second that.
Thanks.
Okay, all those in favor by roll call? Jason Bridges,
Aye.
Christy Ferrantella,
Aye.
Matt Fee,
Aye.
Melissa Murphy,
Aye.
John Holgate, aye. Erica, could you read the full list of names again for the Council for Human Services?
So for Council for Human Services, we did have one person withdraw their name, a second person withdraw since the appointments and since this public hearing. But the people still interested are Joseline Ramirez, Brooke Moore, Claudia Valle, Cindy Rivera, Athelyn Sweeney, Andrew Mulcahy, Lori Richards, Vanessa Rendero, and Anna Valeria Alonso. And I believe we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 applicants here that could speak if they wish.
Is there anyone that would like to speak? Please raise your hand if you'd like to be recognized. Athelyn?
Hi, everybody. How are you? I know you can't answer all of you at once. So I have had some extra time in my schedule because I've pulled back from Fairwinds. And I've been working in the field of human services for almost 20 years here. And I'm really just interested in giving back and being a part of the Council for Human Services if you'll have me. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Athelyn. Is there anyone else who'd like to say anything? Okay, do we want to go to a ballot vote on this?
So just a reminder, you're going to be voting for 6 applicants.
Thank you. Everyone just send an email or text to Erica. Matt?
Do we have to note which is the 2-year seat? No.
So we have 1 1-year seat, 2 2-year seats, and 3 3-year seats. Brooke Moore and Claudia Valle are requesting 3-year terms. Joseline Ramirez is requesting a 2-year term, and no one else made note of which terms they were interested in. And you can leave that to staff if you wish.
That's fine.
Everyone should go ahead and vote right now. I'm just switching over to that screen.
Do we do it sending it to Erica by email or?
I would prefer an email just so we have a hard copy record of it, but if you have to text it, you can.
Erica, have you received from everyone?
I just received yours. Give me 1 minute. Okay, so I'm going to read each board member's votes and ask that you confirm that this is your vote. Jason Bridges, Brooke Moore, Athelyn Sweeney, Joseline Ramirez, Claudia Valle, Cindy Rivera, and Vanessa Rendiero.
That's correct.
Melissa Murphy voted for Brooke Moore, Claudia Valle, Cindy Rivera, Athelyn Sweeney, Vanessa Rendiero, and Joseline Ramirez. Melissa, is that correct?
Yeah.
Christy Ferrantella voted for Claudia Valle, Brooke Moore, Joseline Ramirez, Vanessa Rendiero, Anna Valeria Alonso, Cindy Rivera.
That's correct.
Matt Fee, Claudia Valle, Brooke Moore, Cindy Rivera, Athelyn Sweeney, Vanessa Rendiero, and Anna Valeria Alonso. Matt, can you confirm that was your vote?
Yes, it is.
Don Holgate, Brooke Moore, Athelyn Sweeney, Cindy Rivera, Claudia Valle, Vanessa Rendiero, and Anna Valeria Alonso. Don, is that your vote?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm just going to tally them if you give me a moment.
Okay.
So out of the 9 applicants, 7 got votes. Joseline Ramirez got 3. Brooke Moore got 5. Claudia Valle got 5. Cindy Rivera got 5. Athelyn Sweeney, 4. Vanessa Rendiero, 5. And Anna Valeria Alonso with 3. So you have a tie between Joseline Ramirez and Anna Valeria Alonso. So you're going to have to revote that one.
Okay, everyone resend in their vote.
Can you repeat the names?
Joseline Ramirez and Anna Valeria Alonso. Okay, so Jason Bridges, please confirm your vote for Joseline Ramirez.
That's correct.
Melissa Murphy, Joseline Ramirez.
Yes.
Okay, thank
Yes.
you.
Thank you.
Dawn, Joseline Ramirez.
Yes.
Matt, Anna Valeria Alonso.
Yes.
Christy, Anna Valeria Alonso.
Yes.
So the sixth, Ramirez received 3 and Alonso received 2. So the 6th person is going to be Ramirez. John, was that acceptable? Okay.
John, was process followed correctly?
Yes, yes, it was perfect.
Thank you. Next up is the Conservation Commission. I think that all 4 applicants are here, so I'm not sure who would like to speak first, if you do want to address the board and the public.
Dawn, before we, I'm so sorry.
Sorry.
Before we move forward, could we just extend thanks to everyone who applied to be on the Council for Human Services. And I'm personally grateful to all of you for putting your names in and showing renewed interest into this board. Please, if you did not get appointed in this round, not be discouraged from applying again. Your application is noted, as is your interest, and I'm just very grateful to you for being willing to be a part of it. So thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. Very much agree. Thank you all. Anyone in Council for Human Services wants to drop off, or Richard Hussey, you don't have to stay on if you don't, unless you want to. And then I'll recognize Ashley Urs.
Well, first, I would just like to thank all of the board members for holding this special meeting. I know that you guys don't have a lot of time. You're very busy, so thank you for this. The reasons I would like to be reappointed to the Conservation Commission, really are based on that I love to serve. I've served for 6 years. I've been very dedicated, and I'd love to continue to serve and see the commission continue to protect our wetland resource areas. My background and my education makes me very well suited for this commission. I have a Master's of Environmental Studies from the University of Pennsylvania with a specific focus in resource management. So the very resources that the Conservation Commission is asked to protect. I've taken graduate level classes in wetlands, hydrology, field botany, estuary, resources, recovery and regulations, and also environmental planning classes, to name just a few. I think I have a very in-depth knowledge of the components that make up a wetland system. So the hydrodynamics, the soil, and the plants. I have 11 years of landscaping experience. So plants and soils is something I understand readily. And I also have a good grasp on the important ecosystem services that are provided by wetlands. Just generally the wetlands on Nantucket, they absorb floodwaters and stormwater runoff. We witnessed that in the last 24 hours. Our wetlands hold that water until it recharges to our larger watersheds or to our groundwater, and it actually helps purify the water before it reaches those locations. When you talk about our coastal wetlands, they are integral in protecting us from storm damage. They absorb storm surge, and as we move forward into the future, they will be one of our most vital resources in protecting against climate change and sea level rise. And then we also can't forget the tremendous wildlife habitat that's provided by our wetlands, and of course the aesthetic value. Think Nantucket's beaches. So I'm able to use this lens and my background to apply the State Wetlands Protection Act and Nantucket's local bylaw when looking at applicants in front of us. And again, I've found it to be an honor to serve on the Conservation Commission the last 6 years, and I would love to continue for another 3. So thank you.
Thank you, Ashley. Anyone else? Sean, then Linda. Oh, Sean, there. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for taking time out of your day on a Monday afternoon to listen to all of us. My background's in marine biology. I graduated from UMass Dartmouth. I currently hold a Coast Guard Merchant Mariner's document, and I'm a journeyman plumber licensed in the state of Massachusetts. I'm interested in getting more involved in the town, and I think Conservation Commission is something where my marine biology education would be useful. I'm very versed in looking at more estuaries and coastal ecology, as well as things that are about in the benthic and pelagic zones. I'm interested in being involved in this board because as a kid growing up out here, I used to get dragged along to all the site visits with my father when he served on the Concom years ago. I think Joe Topham is the only one left on the board that might remember that, but I feel that I am somewhat qualified and that I would be able to provide a good insight into the wetlands and the environment on the island. And hopefully that the board has the purview to select the most qualified candidates for these two positions moving forward. Thank you.
Linda, you're muted.
Thanks for doing this again, and I appreciated the votes of the four of you on the 17th. I come at it from a little different perspective because I've been on town boards since 1983, and I look at a lot of things on planning from an HCC perspective, obviously, and I'm used to dealing with policy and laws, whether they're local, state, or federal. The Housing Authority, we deal with federal and state. So I have a good working knowledge of process, Robert's rules, open meeting laws, ethics violations, things like that. I have the Ethics Commission on speed dial. And I've always been interested in the Concom, but I've been sort of focused on planning issues and HCC issues and the like. And I feel I could bring a different perspective. I'm not in allegiance with any outside group. We all have our own opinions and we're entitled to our own opinions. This being a small island, we have very strong opinions. But the minute you enter into a meeting, your opinions and your allegiances to anybody else have to stay outside the door. And I have no allegiances. I know I've been accused of all kinds of dastardly things over the last 2 weeks, all of which are untrue. I have never worked for Posner and I've never worked for Jamie. So I have no allegiance to them either, but I bring a different perspective and I can work with the board that's there. I know all but one. And you just got to work with what you have in front of you, and you've got to protect the Nantucket wetlands. But you also have to pay attention to being consistent with the bylaws, the local and state laws, and work with applicants to the best of your ability without any prejudgment. And I know that my reputation for disruption precedes me, but a lot of what has been made over the last couple of months, particularly the last 2 weeks, is overblown. I do have an issue when people don't abide by the rules and regulations under which they have to work, whether they violate the open meeting laws or the ethics rules or Robert's rules. And I get pretty stern about that because we all have to operate the same way, no matter what board we're on. We have to take what we have to rule on and do it fairly without any prejudice. And I've been able to do that. Plus, I hate to say how old I am, but there you go. I've been here 65 years, and there's very little on this island I haven't been in, waded through, driven through, or just sat there and enjoyed the view. So I do have a really strong working knowledge of every single corner of this island. And I have seen at the planning board things that I haven't cared for, but if they met the rules and regulations and we had no choice but to vote for them, as for Fairgrounds was an example. And they're not things that I like. They're not things I would vote for if we had a vote at the polls, but it were things that you had to deal with because they met all the requirements. So it's not like I love everything that I've had to vote on. I probably hate half of them, but that's the way it goes. You have to be fair and you have to work with the rules and regs that you're given. on any particular board. So I've been able to do that for 37 years on regulatory boards when I came on the zoning board, all that years ago. And I'd like to continue to serve. And I've stayed away from the Concom up until the last couple of years because I didn't want to interfere or have an opinion. And I did apply last fall and decided that I would withdraw. And Mark Beal got on, which I served with Mark on the ZBA for a long time, longer ago than I like to acknowledge. And I feel I can work with the rest of the board as well. Thank you very much for doing this again. And again, thank you for the support I got 2 weeks ago.
Thank you, Linda. Mark?
Yes, well, good afternoon. And I too thank you all for this extra step in this process. As some of you know, I have an established history of working on Nantucket town boards in a cooperative and friendly spirit. I served on the planning board for 12 years with chairman for 8 and zoning board for 7 years, chairman for 5. It's been my style to try and solve problems with applicants and not be confrontational. I've been very impressed with the same spirit on the existing Conservation Commission. I would guess that 90% or more of the applications we see are approved with no changes or with only very minor modifications. And that's a good thing for applicants and the town. We enforce the wetlands bylaw with little controversy. We do, however, get the occasional application to seek to subvert or ignore the town wetlands regulations. And this requires strong leadership and scientific experience, both of which exist on the current board. I strongly desire to be reappointed to the Conservation Commission, and thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Mark. Before we go to a vote, I just wanted to say that, you know, we did this because we heard the grave concerns about process and people being properly informed. So I do hope that everyone feels like we've really had an inclusive public process with giving the opportunity for so many people to write to us, to talk to us, to have all 4 applicants come and speak before us today. There's, you know, been kind of an overwhelming response on this. And I mean, some of it has been highly inappropriate and very disconcerting from a number of individuals and even from the newspaper. But most of it has been very civil and thoughtful and you know, a lot to sort through. You know, a lot of good comments from the public, and it's great to see the engagement. I think that I hope that John Giorgio and everyone else feels that we've addressed at least the concern for process, and will definitely be even more clear than we've been in the past going forward on how everything's going to go and be handled, or at least while I'm around, we will be. And I don't know if other board members have any comments they'd like to make. Matt?
Yeah. No, I think part of it is process and part of it is, you know, so part of it is other stuff. And I think we know what the responsibilities of that board are. You know, and hopefully everyone has read all the comments, all the packets we've received. I would hope that we've all done that. I can say I have. I think we should correct the record on Ashley. There was some sort of, you know, intimation she was late, and she was late, technically maybe, but it was late because it was a rollover from an earlier application. So it made it sound like she was late, but she had her application in and they rolled it to the next date we did with someone else. So I think that's important. I think the outpouring of support, I look at this and it is clear to me, I don't believe that, you know, I don't believe SBPF asked Linda to run, but it is clear to me this is falling as an SBPF sort of a split, you know, based on that. And I've responded to all the SBF people, all the Baxter Road people, and explained I think it would be a huge mistake not to reappoint Ashley. I think it would put us back even further. There's a segment of our population, a third, a half, who feel very strongly, and we have to find a way to be united in this. And I think that if we take a vote that is dividing this community, I think we will have a harder time figuring out what the right thing out in Sconset is and bringing our community together to solve these issues. I think sea level rise is large, but it's not just that, it's storm surge, and it's, and we're under great pressure on a lot of those issues. I think that we need, I think we need expertise there. And I think, I kind of agree with Mark. We have a good board right now. So I like, I think, so anyway, I just think there's some important aspects to this. It's not just process.
Is everyone ready to go to a vote?
Madam Chair, I don't know if you want to entertain it, but you do have somebody's hand raised.
We're not taking public comment today. I think we were pretty clear on that on Wednesday. Is everyone? If everyone wants to open up public comments, then we can do it. But we've had overwhelming public comments. I think we're all aware of every kind of viewpoint here. Melissa?
Thank you, Dawn. I wasn't going to say anything, but as the newest member of the select board, I just feel like it bears noting from my perspective how disappointed I am by a large segment of our community and the tone of the public discourse that's taken place. There have been veiled threats, name calling, allegations of misconduct and nepotism. I mean, really, I'm really overwhelmed with a sense of disappointment that I have, and I hope, and I've mentioned this to parents who are whose children have studied with Ashley, and my own daughter has studied with Ashley. I have the greatest degree of and highest respect for her. But I think that we owe it to our children to be able to disagree more civilly, particularly when it's in public and we aren't seeing eye to eye on issues. I think we've set a very bad example for our children and how this public discourse has rolled out. And that's very concerning to me. I'm also very concerned by the amount of personal involvement that those criticisms have taken. And I feel like it would be very unfair to just chalk it up to being unhappy with the process. I think that there are people who are very unhappy with the first outcome. And while I'm more than happy to entertain a fault in process, which is why I voted to be here today, I can't abide by the personal attacks, particularly on members I now serve with and people I know in this community who are volunteers and who work their hardest day in and day out for the betterment of this community. So I'm not sure where this vote will go today. And in some ways, I trust that the Conservation Commission will continue its good work. Either of the four of you, any of the four of you would be wonderful members, and I'm grateful to you all for putting yourselves out there and applying to be a part of our town government, in some cases again, and in some cases for the first time. And I hope if you are not appointed today, that does not discourage you from continuing to be involved or to continue to seek appointment on this commission or any other. And I hope that as a community, we can do better, because this behavior has certainly not demonstrated a sign of encouragement for anyone to want to get involved in public politics. Thank you.
Melissa, thank you so much for those comments. I concur with all of them. and I do want to echo thank you all for putting yourselves out there. It's very tough for all of us to put ourselves out here so publicly, and wanting to serve. These are volunteer positions. So if there isn't anything further, let's go to a vote.
Dawn, I see there's a question to confirm that every member has read the entire packet, and I am confirming that I have read not only the packet, but any late breaking emails that have come in that have not been included in the packet.
I concur.
Same here, Madam Chair. I was not able to write back to everyone. I tried. I got behind this weekend, but I did read every email. That's it, and everything that's in the packet.
Yes, same here as well. I know there might have been a couple that came in around 3 o'clock, but everything that I've seen since 3, I've read. I haven't always been able to respond, but I've definitely read everything.
Okay, shall we go to a vote?
Sorry, I'm just still waiting for Christie's to come through. Okay, so I'm going to read the votes and ask that all board members confirm their vote. Jason Bridges voted for Ashley Arisman and Mark Beal.
That's correct.
Matt Fee voted for Ashley Arisman and Sean Perry. Melissa Murphy voted for Ashley Arisman and Linda Williams.
Correct.
Don Holgate voted for Linda Williams and Ashley Arisman. Can you just confirm, Don?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Christy voted for Mark Beal and Ashley Arisman.
That's correct.
So the tally is Mark Beal received 2 votes. Ashley Arisman received 5 votes. Sean Perry 1 vote and Linda Williams 2 votes. So you need a revote between Mark Beal and Linda Williams to break the tie. Okay, I'm going to read the votes. Matt Fee, please confirm that you voted for Mark Beal.
Yes.
Don Holgate, you voted for Linda Williams.
Yes.
Melissa Murphy, you voted for Linda Williams.
Yes.
Jason Bridges, you voted for Mark Beal.
Yes.
Christy Ferrantella, you voted for Mark Beal.
Yes.
So Mark Beal is the second member with 3 votes. Congratulations to Ashley and Mark.
Christy?
Can I make a statement, or are we wrapping up?
You can.
I wanted to let everybody, all 4 applicants, know how appreciative I am of them putting their names forth. This has been a really difficult decision. I think all of us, I'm speaking for myself, but I'd hope all the board members, we always try to make decisions for what's best for Nantucket. And this one was a really difficult one for me. I think all 4 applicants would have been really good, and it was really hard to pick just 2. I really had a tough time trying to think about if I wanted to change my vote, and what would that give to the community if I did that. And I was very nervous that I would come off as giving into political pressure, which I think is more corrupt and less transparent than anything else. But I also think it's important to listen to your constituency and, the feedback that we received over the past 2 weeks, 10 days. I think it really made us think hard and clear. So I do want to thank Linda for putting her name forward. And this was one of the toughest decisions that we've had to make. But I hope that people still want to get involved. Like Melissa said, this really showed a side of Nantucket that I hadn't seen. I love serving on select board. And I don't know if many of you had the same thought the past couple of days of why do we do this? It was really heartbreaking to see some of those comments. I really think that all of us always think about what's best for the island and long term. And I just wanted to make that statement that some of what we've received over the past couple of days have been tough. And I hope that people know that these decisions are difficult and we're always trying to do what's best. So thank you.
Jason?
Thank you, Christy. I want to echo what Melissa said about kind of seeing the uglier side. I've been on this board for 3 years, and there's a lot of decisions I've made that people have been against, and but I've never seen people coming after me personally, and so that was, I find that really interesting on the civic discourse part of it. People using my family to their advantage and where I went to school and things that they were going to do if I didn't vote a certain way. It's just, I've never seen it like that here. And so kind of not to go over everything you just said, Melissa, you said it much better than I can, but I hope we can, learn from this. I would say 40% of the correspondence I got was really good and was very thoughtful, disagreed, said I made the wrong decision or said I did make the right decision, but it was really, it was good civic discourse. I think, I struggle with kind of some of the similar things that Christy did. As humans, we don't want to be wrong. We don't want to change the way we thought or make a different decision because of it's just human. Like when people are coming at you, you don't want to change. You kind of want to push back. But I think leadership is rethinking your decisions when new information is provided. And I don't think this shows weakness for the select board. I think this shows flexibility. It shows that we can pivot. And even if the votes went a different way, it still shows that we can pivot and we can move and in a time of uncertainty. So I feel good with COVID in the next 6 months in year or 2 years, we don't know where this is going to go, that we can do those things. And the process is just, we adapt to the process and we'll change it going further. And I wanted to say specifically to Ms. Williams that I've been on a lot of nonprofit boards, and every single time I've called Linda to ask her to hold a sign at 6 a.m. or 4 a.m. or anything, she's always said yes. She's always served the community. And if I was going into war, I'd want Linda next to me. So I appreciate your service. I just don't think this particular time and this particular board, it was the right time. I didn't want to put you in that position with everything that I had seen in these last 10 days. I didn't think it would help the board. And I know you're kind of ready for the fight, but I didn't think that I didn't want to put you in that position from what I had seen. And so there's a place and lots of places for Miss Williams, but not at this time and not this board. And I want to thank everybody for applying and reapplying and then going through this today, and not just the select board, but the applicants. This hasn't been an easy 10 days for you either. Thank you.
Matt?
Yeah, just the same. It hasn't been easy. How I described to a lot of people, Linda, you have a big brain and a bigger heart, and have done a lot for this community. So, I think that's, you've done good stuff for, it helped everybody here, and I think everybody knows
that. This was all, oh, sorry.
No, I'm sorry, Don. It just felt appropriate at the end of these comments to remind the community who are watching that the message of process is not over yet, and that we will continue have conversations as a board and subsequent agenda at subsequent meetings. It will be an agenda item to review the applicant process for appointments to boards and commissions. And I think we're all committed to making that process less confusing and more transparent, so that we're not arguing about late applications and past practice. And I honestly hope that we can put those conversations behind us and move forward with some clearer guidelines.
I just wanted to thank Ashley. We had a great conversation yesterday where she really addressed some of my concerns, and it was really, really helpful. And I mean, honestly, if it was very hard to not cast my vote for Mark, who I have such an incredibly long history with, and I know he'll do a great job. And I'm very pleased that he is staying on, and that Linda so much of herself to this community, and I felt like I needed to continue to recognize that and give her out there. And I hope that you will keep doing so, because I think that there is a place for you. And yeah, I have a long history with your mom at the Children's House and your dad in Town Picks. And I just wanted to recognize all of you. And this, I think that clearly the board had a lot of back and forth internally from all of the feedback that we've heard. And there's never a clear way on how this is all going to shake out. But definitely they heard some messages that resonated with them in a revisiting of this process. We will continue to redefine, as Melissa said, the actual overall appointment process and make sure it's very clear to everyone. And I'm not sure what else to say. It is going to be very hard to forget some of the really biting comments that I heard, and I would echo Melissa's extreme disappointment in some of our community members. It was just really hard to see that kind of behavior. And there were some very thoughtful comments as well. I think I'll end with that before I babble on. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Oh, Erica, did you have something?
Yeah, you asked me to put committee appointments on because Christy had something that she didn't say the other night.
Oh, yes. Why don't we end with that?
Sorry, I did have that. I just wanted to give an update from the data platform. I met with them last week, and the COVID dashboard is going to be ready this week, if not early next week. So they're going to be looking at kind of the overall COVID statistics that mostly the hospital has done, with providing information on how many tests are being done, what are positive rates, things like that. But they're also going to be looking at our economic health, business health, and financial health. And so it'll help the town make some decisions in the future of, how do we give relief, or can we give relief, and what will that look like for the town's budget. And the last thing that they are adding in is a feeder market. So showing how COVID is affecting a lot of the markets that travel to Nantucket, so we can start to see trends in those markets if they're coming to Nantucket. So I just wanted to share a couple of those updates. And I meant to say it last Wednesday, but the meeting had gone on late, and I just wanted to keep everybody in the know.
Thanks, Christy. Oh, Jason?
Is that a question, Christy? Is the population in there as well? Like how many people are coming this week? Is that a correlation or a data point?
Yes, that's something that they're working on as well.
Okay.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
I'm going to do a roll call vote. Christy Ferrantella,
Aye.
Matt Fee,
Aye.
Melissa Murphy,
Yes.
Jason Bridges,
Aye.
Don Holgate, aye. Thank you all very much.